Can I please ask you to put your hands together, make some noise for a true inspiration to us all, Mr. Steve Hill.
Thank you very much. You're very, very kind. I'm a little bit nervous, so hopefully that'll go in a few seconds. But good evening, everybody. I hope you're enjoying the evening so far. It is a great honour to be invited to be sharing in this special celebration tonight. This celebration of everything that's great about our town. And what is great about our town are you people out there. All the fantastic things that you do, whether it's volunteering, coaching, performing, you are absolute superstars. So before I move on, I'd just like to say a huge, huge congratulations to everybody who's been nominated and all the winners tonight. You are absolute superstars and keep up the great work. You are what makes this town great and you are making a massive difference. So thank you, everybody, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the evening. Thank you. And thank you, Mike, for your very kind introduction. As Mike said, I am a primary school teacher, a local primary school teacher, teaching Short, St. Joseph's Primary School. I have the great honour and privilege of teaching Year 6. A couple of children here tonight. There's Olivia and Tom and Harry and Mary, who's been up for an award. There's no escaping Sarah at all, is there? So I hope you enjoy the talk. But it is the greatest job in the world, and there'll be a number of teachers in here, and what a privilege. And yes, we've got to teach the curriculum, we've got to get them through SATs and what have you. But for me, it's more important to inspire them beyond the classroom. And a big thing for me is to inspire the children I teach beyond the classroom, to plant a seed of adventure. Show them there's a big world out there and that life is about experiences, and the more you do, the more interesting life is. And I want to instill that dream big attitude amongst them. For me, I tell them every day, you've got to dream big. And if your dreams aren't big enough, if they don't frighten you and excite you, they're not big enough. And there will be people who knock you and tell you your dreams are too big. Small-minded people, you ignore them. You believe it yourself, you dream big, aim high. And things will get tough from time to time. They always do. But we never give up when things get tough. And on a day-to-day basis, it's always I can and I will. We ban the word can't, be the best you can be. So, as a result of that, 9 years ago now, I embarked upon my own challenges. I wanted to inspire them. I wanted to back up and practice what I preach. And I set myself the challenge of climbing Mount Kilimanjaro. Bearing in mind I'd done nothing like this before in my life. High altitude, yep, one or two knockers, one or two doubters, one or two people telling me it was too difficult, too tough. We ignore those people. I believed in my heart, I believed in my head that I could do this. But I had to work hard for it. But I always involved the children in all the challenges. Planning the challenge, the training, they're a massive motivation to me and a massive inspiration to me. And anything I can involve them in, the food I take. And when I do go on the challenges, they send me good luck messages and little things to open on day 1 and day 2 and day 3. And I don't think they realise how much that means to me. And little lucky charms. So, we had Debbie in there, sorry. So that's my class from last year, the fundraising. Last year, a big challenge was to run 6 marathons through the Arctic wilderness, which I'll get to in a few minutes. Shane here and all my classmates, that's a massive inspiration. I like to think we're a team together and we're on the journey together. And if it can inspire them to dream big and to believe in themselves that anything's possible, whatever that may be, whatever their Everest may be, then I've done my job. It's important, as I say, to share the experience with them, food that I took on my expeditions, and they get a chance to taste it and see the equipment, etc., etc. So they are fully a part of it and they're with me in spirit when I go on the challenge. They get to taste the food, and as you can see there, pretending they don't like it, they actually ate it all, so, you know, it couldn't have been that bad. But it's important, as I say, that they get a feel of what I'm going to be going through on the challenges. These challenges always take place in the school holidays. So I'll often leave school on a Friday, half term, fly on the Saturday, do the challenge, get back on the Sunday evening and back behind my desk on the Monday with lots of tales to share with the children. So the first challenge back in 2009 was to climb Mount Kilimanjaro. And as I said, I'd never done anything like this before in my life. For me, it was going to be a one-off challenge during the 6-week holidays. But the children got really involved more than I'd even imagined. And it was an amazing experience in itself. Any adventure, any challenge around the world is a great adventure. And this is just coming up to, obviously, Kilimanjaro in the distance. I think we still had about 2 days trekking to go to get to the point of summiting. Beautiful place, beautiful mountain. And that is at the summit at Gilman's Point at sunrise. And it was a long slog to get to that point. 8 hours, at high altitude, very cold, very dark, and lots of mind games. And I do enjoy mind games. The mind games, those voices that tell us that things are getting too tough and it's time to stop, time to quit. But I enjoy that little voice that keeps saying, come on, there's a reason we set off doing this. Let's keep going, you can do it. And I have a little mantra of left foot, right foot, repeat. And I think that can be applied to life, isn't it? No matter how tough things can get, keep moving forward, left foot, right foot, and ultimately you'll get to your goals. And the guide with us at that point, when we got to the top of the mountain, he just turned around to me and said, "Steve, you've conquered the mountain." And I got very emotional, and I didn't expect that. And it was an emotional moment. But we got to this point, and we still had 3 hours of trekking around the rim to get to Uhuru Peak, and it had to be done. People were being sick, suffering from altitude sickness, but we needed the photograph at the top, and that's the photograph at the top of Kilimanjaro at Uhuru Peak. And at that point, yes, I set out to achieve something that was difficult, something that some people had said was beyond me, and I'd managed to do that. The children had been with me in spirit, they'd kept me going through the night, the thoughts of my classes, and the charities we were raising money for, and I couldn't wait to get back to school to share the experience with the children. Every time I do return after the experience and share the sports with them, it's always, "Well, what's next, sir? What are you doing next?" So whether I like it or not, the challenges continue. So from Kilimanjaro, it moved on to Mont Blanc, something a little bit more technical. Climbing Mont Blanc, crampons, ice picks and so forth, quite a dangerous mountain. Not as high as Kilimanjaro, but again, a beautiful mountain in the Alps. And there we are, ready to go and summit, and that's at the summit. I don't have a lot of look at the summits, it's always very misty and snowy, not very good views, but there's the summit of Mont Blanc. Back to school, share with the children, "What are you going to do next, sir?" And from Mont Blanc, it was to the Sahara Desert. I like to try and go to different environments. So it was a 150-mile trek through the Sahara Desert, and that pretty much was the view for the week. But sleeping under the stars was amazing experience. Very hot, long days of trekking, but a great adventure and great challenge. After Sahara, it was off to climb the highest mountain in Europe. One of my dreams is to complete the 7 summits one day, hopefully. To climb Mount Everest is a big dream of mine, one day, hopefully. These are the Caucasus Range of mountains. It was climbing Mount Elbrus, as I said, the highest mountain in Europe. Again, a tough challenge, tough climb, and that was summit night. And you can see the incline, and we had a blizzard, it was very cold, and it's head down, and it was just the grinding it out to the summit, as often, sometimes we find ourselves in life, don't we? Just the grind, and it's getting your head down, getting on with the job in hand, and moving forward, slow, small steps, until we get to our goal, whatever that goal may be. Kept moving forward, up the mountains, getting above the clouds, and then the sun comes up. And when you're on a summit climb, when the sun comes up, you know at some point you're not too far from the summit. But again, the snow continued, and it was just keeping moving those legs forward, left foot, right foot, and repeat, and getting to the summit. Very cold, very blustery, very snowy. We spent 10 minutes there, and it was back down then to safety. Back to school, share it with the children. What are you going to do next, sir? It was up to the jungles. I'd been in the mountains, been in the desert. I fancied testing myself in the jungle environment. I had a choice between the Amazon jungle and Borneo, and I fancied Borneo. It sounded a little bit more remote and a bit more exotic. So I flew to Southeast Asia and spent 2 weeks trekking through the jungles. And I'm a firm believer in looking the parts, looking a bit like Indiana Jones, got the machete and so forth. All the gear, no idea, as people say. And that was, again, a great experience, getting accustomed and getting acquainted with the local wildlife, giving them free meals and so forth, so it's filling itself up on blood there. And that, for those, is a leech, lots of leeches in the jungle. And then 1 bath in 2 weeks, so that was bathing in one of the rivers. There were all sorts in that river, but it didn't matter. It was nice to get a bit of a cool down. And you press with a t-shirt tans, like one of the best t-shirt tans you've seen, just the neck and arms. But from that, I went and climbed then Mount Kinabalu, which is the highest mountain in Southeast Asia. It was there to do. I was in Borneo, and why not? And it wasn't the hardest of challenges, but it was there, so tick it off as we went. And that was summit night and getting towards the top at 4,095.2 meters. So, after Borneo, well, where next? I've mentioned earlier, one of my biggest dreams is to climb Mount Everest. I'd love to stand on top of the world. The next best thing was to go to base camp, and when I was researching this, I came across the event, the Tenzing Hillary Everest Marathon in 2014. Now, bearing in mind, I'd never ever run a marathon before in my life. I'd done 10Ks, half marathons to keep fit from the other challenges, never run a marathon. And here I was considering running my first marathon at Everest Base Camp. You can imagine people's responses, you're absolutely stupid. The word bonkers often used, but again, I fancied it. It got me excited. It was a big adventure, and I knew the children at school would get excited and get right behind me. I believed I could do it. I worked hard, and off I went to Lukla, to Kathmandu there. So there's the aeroplanes that you're flying to Lukla, Lukla being one of the worst, most dangerous airports in the world to land, and that was the plane that we were flying through the mountains to Lukla. I'd been warned not to sit at the front of the plane because you could see everything and it's very dangerous and scary, so I had to sit at the front to see everything between the pilot. Got on the plane, set the engines off, engines are going, the propellers, and the pilot kept shaking his head, and something was wrong and didn't like the look of it. We had to get off the plane, and a man came over with a toolbox, took out a big hammer, opened the engine, give it a good bang with the hammer, closed it again, we all got back on, and off we set, which didn't fill us with a lot of confidence, but we're off through the mountains. And that is a view from the above of Loughler, and you can just see the airstrip there in the mountains. Very, very short airstrip, and if they get it wrong, you're in trouble. But you can just see then in the distance the Himalayas, the most spectacular place in the world. Somewhere I'd highly recommend you visit. And that's us on the approach to the runway, landing at Loughler. And I say that's my head popping through the two pilots. And that's from the other view there. So our journey began from Loughler up and through the mountains up to base camp. And it was an amazing journey going through villages. We visited a school and prayer flags. And as we got higher and higher, the mountains got bigger and bigger. It was spectacular, and you can just see there, what a journey. And we stopped off at the Edmund Hillary School, and that as a teacher was an amazing experience. We spent the day there, and it was brilliant. Children there, football, playing football, popping in classrooms, and as I say, what an experience. And although they don't look too happy, you know, we give them a football, and always have the double thumbs up. And then it was higher into the mountains, and getting towards base camp, and there's my first view of Everest in the flesh, and you know, some mountain that you've read a lot about as a child, gave me goosebumps. There's Mount Everest, and as I said, I'd love one day to stand on the top of that mountain, and give me a double thumbs up for Oldham. But carrying on, as I said, the mountains got bigger and bigger, and then the weather changed, and it snowed, and it snowed, and it snowed, and it snowed, and it snowed some more. We got to base camp, and I'm a firm believer in having a big smile on your face. No matter how tough things get, keep that smile on your face, and keep moving, see the positives in things. I was at base camp. Wow, Mount Everest base camp. And then we got to camp, and you can see camp, that is base camp. The blue thing is a toilet, and these are our homes for 2 nights. And it just continued to snow, and that was my tent, which I shared with another young man for 2 nights before the marathon. And it snowed, and it snowed, and the tents just seemed to disappear, but we were sleeping in those tents somewhere. And the morning the marathon came, and the weather cleared, and at the base camp, there we are. I'm on the start line of the Everest Marathon, never having run a marathon before in my life. You might think that's stupid. I believed I could do it. And in life, sometimes we've just got to put ourselves out of our comfort zone and say, you know what, let's give it a go. What's the worst that can happen? All I can do is do my best. Some very accomplished runners there, but what an adventure. Running through the mountains. The marathon took me 9.5 hours. I was breaking no records, but it was a PB for me, my first marathon. And there we are at the finish line, back at Namche Bazaar, after 9.5 hours of running. But I'd got that medal for the children back at school. I'd hopefully shown them what is possible through that self-belief, hard work and determination. That's a big important thing for me. They believe they can, they're halfway there. So where do you go after the Mount Everest Marathon? What's next? How can you top that? Having done some research, I came across the North Pole Marathon. Running a marathon around the North Pole. Wow, who'd ever thought that was possible? Well, it was, and it is. And I signed up for it, and I thought, let's have a go at this one. Trained hard. And again, giving that message to the children with self-belief, hard work, determination, never giving up when things get tough. Anything is possible. And hopefully that's a message, you know, I can give to you guys tonight as well. To get to that North Pole, we flew into Camp Barneo, and that's what the North Pole looks like from a helicopter that we flew up. And there's the start line. And we started the North Pole Marathon. And you can see I'm almost in first position there. Just with those dogs. It lasted about 10 seconds, and then I just dropped further and further back. Because I'm not a fast runner, I'm a good plodder, and I'll keep going forever. But what an experience, running around the North Pole. The temperature kept dropping, and it got down to minus 60. Very cold temperature, but again, the mindset is, I can do this. Let's keep moving forward, keep thinking about the charities, people back at home, the children, everything that motivates us. We have armed guards on the course in case any polar bears come within the vicinity, just to frighten them away. And off we go. Just keep running, loops around the North Pole. Again, about 9 hours of running. Very cold, as you'd imagine. And there's the finish line. Coming into the finish line of the North Pole Marathon, very frozen, but elated. I'd done it. Again, people said I was daft, I was bonkers. Maybe it's a little bit beyond you. I'd proven people wrong through my hard work. And that's not about proving other people wrong, it's about doing it for yourself. And that's just a GPS printout. It's the only marathon run on the ocean, on the water, and we actually floated 6 kilometres for the duration of the race. Pretty interesting printout there. and there's a nice photograph at the end flying the Union Jack. So, where do you go from there? The next one was to run a marathon in the desert, back in Petra. That was last year. And again, very different, 40-degree temperatures, starting at the Treasury. What an amazing experience. And again, I keep telling the children, there's a big world out there, go and explore it, go and see it. And if you can, have some adventures while you're there. And I hope I'm doing that and showing them that, I'm planting that seed of adventure. So there we are at the Treasury, starting our marathon very early in the morning and running through the Wadi Rum Desert. And off we go. And again, I'm not competing with anybody. I'm not trying to beat anybody. I'm just competing with myself. I'm trying to get to that finish line. For me, it's getting to the start line, getting to that finish line and trying to enjoy a little bit in between. And not worrying about other people. Just enjoy your journey. And there we go. An amazing place to visit. Through the desert. And a sort of smile on my face. And then the finish line there, and it was great. Another medal to take back for the children at school. So, marathons in the desert, marathons at the North Pole, marathons at Everest. I'd proved I could run marathons in these extreme places, environments. Where to next? Well, I researched some more events, and I came across this event, the Jungle Ultra. Not one marathon, but 6 marathons through the Amazon jungle. And not only that, totally self-supported, carrying everything that you need to survive on your back. In the Amazon jungle. Wow, that excited me. It worried me a little bit. It was way beyond anything I'd ever done before in my life. But I knew I could do it. I knew my mind was strong and my mindset, and I believed in my heart that I could do this. But I had to work hard for it, and I knew it'd excite the children at school. It really grabbed their imaginations. So I trained for it, and it is regarded as one of the toughest foot races on the planet. Much harder than the Marathon des Sables, which a lot of people may have heard of, and it was awesome. Number was 232. And once again, children right behind me, which is so important to me. They nominate the charities that we're going to support that year. But again, Sir's off doing a challenge. Not just a challenge, a really daft challenge, a real extreme challenge. But he believes he can do it, and we believe he can do it. And they believe he can do anything, these kids. So off I went. That was all the equipment I had to carry. So it's food for 5 days, breakfast, an evening meal, snacks for during the day, energy drinks, compass, everything I need to survive there. A hammock at night, sleeping in a hammock. What an adventure. Sleeping in the Amazon jungle and running self-supported through the jungle. Wow, I never thought I'd be doing this as a child. We can all achieve whatever we want in life. There we are, kit inspection, ready for the start. First night in a hammock behind me. And off we go, on the start line. 232, some really accomplished runners, some full-time professional elite runners, top 10 in the world, and little old Steve Hill, primary school teacher from Shaw. There we go, and I like that. I believed I could do it, and I was going to enjoy the journey. And off we went, into the depths of the Amazon jungle, and what an adventure. 70 plus river crossings, wet through continuously, lots of insects, lots of ants, lots of mosquitoes, snakes. Am I selling it to you? Does anyone fancy it? No? No, not so. And off we go, all sorts. Monkeys, rivers, and now I am coming in at the end of stage 1. So I'd finished stage 1, into camp, and I was often one of the last people into camp. So the best hammock spots had been taken. It was sometimes dark when I came into camp. It was raining. And we had a bit of a routine. You get into camp, you'd put your hammock up, you'd take your wet top off, put a dry top on, get your wet shoes off, some flip-flops on, prepare your evening meal, bit of hot water in, get some high-calorie food down you, get in your hammock and get 2 or 3 hours broken sleep. The hammock, covered in ants, mosquitoes around. But it was great. I was loving it. I was loving it. I was all set, so enthusiastic. And I woke up the following morning, and it's everything in reverse. So it's get yourself ready, get a bit of breakfast down you, not very nice food, take your hammock down, get your gear back on, and away you go. It was at this morning that I had a bit of a trauma, but unexpected trauma. As I went down to pick up my trainers to put it on, my left shoe had a big rip down it, you can see here. Total rip down the side, and I sat in my hammock in total disbelief. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I was in the middle of the Amazon jungle, totally self-sufficient, and my trainer had a big rip down the side. And what do? No spare trainers. And I sat there, and I thought, game over. I've trained so hard for this. I put everything into it emotionally as well. The kids back at school are expecting me to finish it, and my trainer's ripped. It's all over. And I don't mind admitting it, I sat there and felt really sorry for myself. For 5 or 10 seconds, I was on the verge of quitting. It was all game over. But then I came to my senses, and I thought, what's up with you? You've trained hard for this. It's a trainer. You can move on. You can get on with it. I got some gaffer tape, I got some zip ties. Gaffer taped it up, zip tied it up. It wasn't ideal, but it enabled me to carry on. It kept the trainers on my feet. As the race went on, the other trainer went. This time I just laughed, a little thing thrown our way, and got the gaffer tape out and the zip ties again. I was told to send the trainers back, and I thought, no, I'm going to keep these trainers. I'm going to show the children. I'm going to use them as a bit of a symbol. That it's just like life, isn't it? We put a lot into life. We prepare ourselves. We work hard. We get everything covered. We think we've got everything covered. And sometimes challenges are thrown at us just out of the blue. We get broadsided. And we can feel sorry for ourselves when things don't go our way. We can feel sorry. We can blame other people. We can blame other things. We can blame the trainer. And then we can quit and we can move on. Or we can say, you know what, such is life. Challenges are thrown at us for a reason, to show what we're made of. And we can look at those challenges as a challenge and go through that challenge, smash through it, look for solutions, get the gaffer tape out, get the zip ties out, and let's bat on for our challenge. That's what it is. So that's the lesson. Like I said, the training's like life. Sometimes unexpected things happen. It's how we respond to those things. We respond to them by getting the gaffer tape out and the zip ties and looking for solutions. We don't blame others and we don't quit. As a result of that, the feet were in good condition at the end of the race. You can see they're very swollen and very dark black toenails. You can see these toenails here. I know a lot of people don't like feet and toenails, but I apologise, but it's all part of the journey. I lost 6 toenails that week. Lots of bites on the feet, on swollen feet, but who needs toenails? They certainly grow back eventually. And then a nice obligatory photo with the medal and the toenails at the side. So I don't know if I should tell you that I actually do keep the toenails in a little bag, a Ziploc bag, and I keep them in class, and from time to time we'll pass them around and they can have a look at them. Is that wrong? I don't know, but it's all part of the journey. And we batted on. And that is a photo that means a lot to me. That is at the finish line. That's after 5 days, 230 kilometres, long days. That's the end of the final stage. And I've been out for 17 hours in the jungle that day, most of the time on my own. And I was near the back of the pack. That didn't matter. And that's the finish line. And you got the race director, the medics, and it wasn't a very emotional moment. I ran into the village of Pilkapata, and as I'm running to the finish line, a lot of the local children ran towards me, and they were high-fiving me and giving me hugs and patting me in the back. It was lovely. And a lot of the runners were there. And the race director said, Steve, that doesn't always happen. The faster runners normally finish and have a drink, have a bit of rest, and go back to camp. But every single one of them was so impressed with your determination, your feet, your trainers, that they wanted to stay and cheer you in, no matter how long it took you. And I was out there a lot longer than a lot of them. And that meant the world to me as well, that these accomplished elite runners had respected, if you like, my determination, my will to finish this, my, never giving in, everything I'm trying to instill in the children back at school. And I said that meant a lot to me. Back to school, great, kids are excited. Next thing, what are you going to do next, sir? Where do you go after the Amazon jungle? Well, Uganda in between, okay, before I get to the final challenge. Uganda was something I looked into last year. It was the Uganda Marathon. Well, not just a marathon, it was going over to Masaka in Uganda and do some charity work, spending time in a school, spending time in an orphanage, and making a real difference on the ground, and then finishing the week by running the Uganda Marathon with some of the locals. I'd never done anything like this before, but it turned out to be something very, very special indeed. The race number 8. But these photos here, it was just something special. This is in the orphanage, listening to stories of the children and so forth, and helping to hopefully make a difference. Prior to going there, my children wrote letters, and we had a collection of pens and pencils and paper and trainers. We took all trainers and t-shirts and kits, and you wouldn't believe how much they're obviously appreciated. But this was just unique, so special, a privilege to spend time, with the people of Masaka. And going into the school, such trusting, lovely children. All they want is an education. Speaking to one of the girls in the schools, I said, what's your dreams? What's your big dream? And it was just simply, I want to be a doctor. And I want to come back to my village, and I want to cure AIDS. And I thought, wow, this is a 10-year-old girl whose dream is to become a doctor, and she probably would, but wants to come back and cure AIDS. Not want to make £1 million, not to have a big house, to come back and cure AIDS in our village. Amazing children. We went to the school, we helped to build a football pitch, that's our football pitch, a netball court and a volleyball court. And we had a game of football, and they were phenomenal. Playing in flip-flops, bare feet, Crocs, absolutely amazing athletes. Played some volleyball, and again, they love the sports. And then we had a sports day for them, we had a nice sports day. 3-legged races, egg and spoon races, and they had a ball. And it was a delight and a joy and a privilege to be part of that. And there we go there. Just like any children, they love it. Morning of the marathon, The week had been so amazing. I thought the marathon is just going to be an insignificant event now. It's what I've come for, but it's going to be nothing. It was an amazing. It wasn't just like any marathon. It was absolutely amazing. Running through villages. Every corner I turned, there was a big gang of children singing and dancing and high-fiving us and all sorts. It was just an absolute joy. So we were stopping for selfies and stopping for photographs. It's hard to explain. Every time, every corner, every village. Children with thumbs up, Tom the thumbs up. All sorts. Smiles. Inquisitive. So trusting. This is on the course of the Uganda Marathon. Absolute delightful people, delightful children. And then I had these children who ran with me for a while. They just kept running. They were asking me about all my equipment and whether they could have it, my watch. We had an earphone in each and we listened to music and lots of questions. And then this young man here, he ran with me and he ran with me and he ran with me for about 7 or 8K. He would not leave me alone. And I don't know whether he was slowing me down or he was going too fast and I was trying to keep up with him. I don't know. And it was great. But we got to a point where I thought, I've got to speed up a little bit now or I'm never going to finish this race. So I gave him 1,000 shillings, which is about 50 pence. And we got to the next village. He said, go and get yourself some sweets. And thanks very much. And I'll see you on the next loop. And off he went. He met a friend and off they went. So I sped up a little bit. I thought, right, I'll get round and get a bit of pace going. And within 5 minutes, he'd caught up with me. And he had 2 ice creams, one for me and one for him. And I thought, wow, how amazing. It all melted down his hand. But he chased after me with an ice cream. And I just thought, wow, I'm getting goosebumps now even thinking about it. What a guy. And I think that photo sums it up. We both look very proud to be running with each other. Oh, I hope that's how he's feeling. And then running with the police officers, very friendly people. And then coming to the finish line. Again, no records being smashed. It doesn't matter. It was about the experience. Getting to that start line and getting to that finish line and enjoying the bit in between. And I plan on going back there next year as well and see how things have developed with the fundraising that we did. And the Uganda Marathon medal, not the most spectacular big medal, but medals made by disabled children in a local orphanage. So a very special medal. So where from there? Well, my most recent challenge, the Ice Ultra. Having done the Ultra through the Amazon jungle, I wanted to take it to the next level. Try and push a little bit harder in the cold. And this was back in February, running 6 marathons in 5 days through the Arctic wilderness. Again, 230 kilometres. Again, many said it was daft. Even the local Sami in the mornings, as we set off out on our stages, were shaking their heads saying, you're absolutely daft, we wouldn't come and herd our reindeer in this weather. But it excited me, and it more importantly excited the children at school. A journey through the Arctic. Number 125 this time, and there's the start line. Early in the morning, at that point I think it was about minus 35 degrees. And again, some accomplished runners, 1 or 2 runners from the Amazon as well. And it was a long journey through the Arctic, but I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the mind games. I enjoyed the long days of, come on, you can do this, that left foot, right foot repeat. And there we go on stage 1. A lot of plodding, a lot of grinding it out, a lot of pushing those legs forward. But always with a smile. Always with a smile, I hope. Always see the positives. Vast frozen lakes to cross, running through the night, northern lights from time to time. Amazing. Through the woodlands and coming through there. And then one evening, every night they said the northern lights, it should be tonight, it didn't. And there was one evening, I was in the middle of a frozen lake, 20 kilometres both ways to the next checkpoint. Nice clear sky, very cold, nobody around me for miles, and the northern lights appeared. And I just stood there and looked up, and it was an own personal, private dance, if you like. They were performing for me across the sky, and it was amazing, as you can see there. Very, very special moment. Very cold, very frozen. The following night from the Northern Lights, again in the middle of a lake in the middle of nowhere, there was a skaboo coming towards me. And normally it's a Sami just checking that everyone's all right, and it come towards me. I said, I'm fine, no worries. It kept coming towards me. And then a gentleman got off, and he staggered and fell over, and another skaboo come up. And I'm in the middle of nowhere, miles from anywhere. And then he came over to me with a can of lager. It was a drunken Swede who was out on a fishing trip. And I'm like, in the middle of nowhere, middle of Sweden, middle of nowhere, he's offering me a can of lager in the middle of this frozen lake in the middle of the night. And he fell over again. I'm thinking, this is a bit weird, this. And his friend come over. And it was just the most bizarre thing that there were 2 drunken Swedes offering me a can of lager in the middle of a frozen lake. But anyway, that was fine. I said no, refused it, as an athlete would. And off I went, and I completed that stage. It was only the following night, speaking with some of the Samis, they were talking about having to rescue 2 people who'd crashed the skaboos into a ditch, and I presume it were the same 2 people. So don't drink and drive skaboos at all. That picture there just again sums it with black and white, a very frozen at the end of stage 3. But again, I think just behind the buff there, you can see a smile, I hope, or a little grim, maybe a grimace, I don't know. But as I say, and this was the final stage. So the final stage was a 15-kilometre sprint. I can assure you I wasn't really sprinting. But it was again through to the finish line, a high five at the end, 230 kilometres ticked off. The temperatures had got down to minus 40 at times, but I enjoyed it, and what an adventure. And I couldn't wait. This was in February half term to get back and share the whole experience with the children and just show them again what was possible. That self-belief, hard work, determination, never giving up. 24 people started this race, and by the end of stage 2, 14 people were left. 10 had been pulled out. Frostbite, hypothermia, just not being able to cope with the conditions. Luckily, I could cope with those conditions pretty well. And there we have the medal and, as I say, the race number. I put a few photographs together now with a bit of music just to finish us off. But again, as I say, it's all about that adventure and that pushing the boundaries and pushing the challenge and pushing the body. What are we capable of doing? So I believe we've now got... Nope, I've gone too far. There we go.
Come on, make some noise for this man. Truly inspirational.
You are very kind. Thank you for listening. So we'll just leave with that one last message. Dream big. Dreams that frighten you. Dreams that excite you. If they don't excite you and frighten you, they're not big enough. Whatever age, isn't it? Aim high, as high as you possibly can. We say shoot for the moon. Even if you miss, you land them on the star. And never give up. A word that's banned, I don't like using in our class, is can't. As soon as you start using the word can more often, we soon realise that the person we thought we were is no match for the one that we really are. We've got so much in there to give, isn't it? Believe in yourself. Go and create your own adventures, your own challenges, and go and enjoy it, isn't it? Enjoy life, as I said. Be the best you can be. Thank you for listening. Thank you.
Steve, absolutely brilliant presentation.
Thank you.